Hi, I'm Neil Schmidt, and I'm going to go over basic water techniques today. Deciding whether or not your plant is actually water stressed is the first sign. Usually water stress, under or overwatering, can look very similar, so it's figuring out which you're dealing with. The yellowing leaves, browning of the leaves, wilting are all signs of water stress. If the leaves are crunchy and very dry, that's usually a good indication that it's underwatered. Whereas if it's very pliable and they're not falling apart, that's a good indication of overwatering. Physically going in and checking the soil around the plants is going to be your best option, the best way to know exactly what you're dealing with. Now, once you know what you're dealing with as far as how to apply that water, the watering can like this, any other hand watering techniques can be quite effective, whether you have a watering can, but these can be problematic with time, mainly because they can be very heavy, they're hard to reach back into the beds with, whereas something like this, like these watering wands like this, can make it a lot easier to reach back into the area, to spray the undersides of the leaves, to knock bugs off and anything like that. The problem with hand watering is that it is very time consuming, and to get the same kind of depth into the soil that you really need, that can be quite difficult to really help it penetrate into the soil. So one of the next best things would be something like a small sprinkler. These small sprinklers are very straightforward. There's no moving parts on them. There's really nothing to break and go wrong. This, in conjunction with a timer, can be a really effective way to get very deep soaking of trees, shrubs, or anything of the sort. The ideal way to do it is to soak these, probably run it for maybe even close to an hour, depending on your location. And at that point, I would then go back in, dig in that area, and see how far deep it goes. Sometimes it can be surprising how shallow that water actually is in there. Running that, if you end up having an issue where it doesn't get quite as deep as you think that it was going to get, then run it for another hour and see how that goes and physically check that area. I can't stress it enough, physically checking the soil around your plants or in the root zone is going to tell you a lot of information about what you need to do next. One of the other things that I would like to talk about would be anything from soaker hoses to drip systems, both of which can be a very easy way, like with this sprinkler, to set a timer on and just soak that area thoroughly, and to really get the root zone all the way soaked, ideally anywhere from 5 to 6 inches when you do. When you get a good deep watering, your plants are going to be much more drought resistant and tough in general. For Backyard Basics, I'm Neil Schmidt.